All right. What's up, YouTube? I'm back. It's been a minute. I think it's been about a week and a half, 2 weeks since I've made my last video. Um, and we're back for UFC Kansas. Yeah, Kansas City. Ian Garry versus Carlos Prates. This is an interesting card, honestly. There are a couple unknowns for me in this one. So I may just skip past those, or I may just give an ignorant prediction because I do these raw. You know, like I say a lot of times. This is just like this YouTube thing is just something for me to do as like something I like to do as a fan to build my own community of people to talk to and stuff, because I have other priorities and responsibilities before the YouTube stuff, which kind of sucks. But anyway, one thing I want to talk about though before I start talking about the video. Oh my gosh. Ever since Paddy Pimblett won at UFC 314, oh my gosh. The fan base is in shambles, bro. The community is in shambles right now. The fucking where's your head at? Oh my god, that shit's so cringe. That shit, I'm getting goosebumps right now because of how cringe it is. That shit pisses me off so much. That shit's PMO, bro. That shit PMO. But yeah, fan base is in shambles. It's making the whole UFC fan base and community look corny as fuck. And it's a bunch of boomers doing it too. Like some of them are people like you know, younger gen, maybe like in their 20s. But like the worst videos come from the people. Actually, no, some of the worst videos come from our people, from the young people. But oh man, they're just all so corny, so cringy, so hard to watch. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing as a fan. But yeah, let's go ahead and start with the first fight of the card. I believe is Jocelyn Edwards versus Chelsea Chandler. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jocelyn Edwards. I'm not too familiar with Chelsea Chandler at the moment. Y'all know how it is. If I don't know, I'm just gonna talk about it in the reaction video. As opposed to trying to just make shit up and talk about it. So I'm gonna go with Jocelyn Edwards, probably by decision. I think she has some solid technique, and I believe she's on a win streak. But personally, right now, I don't care enough to check. Timmy Kwamba versus Roberto Romero. This is one of the unknowns for me. I think I may recognize Kwamba, but again, I don't want to give a false prediction, so I'm gonna leave that as is. Jacqueline Amarim, she seems familiar to me, so I'm actually gonna check this one out. Fight history. No. Oh, 3 fights by finish though. And when was the last time Polyana fought? Ever since her and Alex did a private breakup or some shit, she's kind of fell off in terms of just popularity and all. Oh yeah, yeah. This definitely seems as if it's in Amarim's hands. You know, way better momentum. 3 fight finish streak in the UFC, and Polyana coming off the 2 losses. I'm probably gonna have to go with Jacqueline. Next we got Malcolm Willmaker versus Cameron Simon. Now, I think just for the sake of Cameron Simon, I did look up who Malcolm Willmaker was. I'm pretty broke, so I don't have UFC Fight Pass, or I don't really know of any way to watch older fights. If y'all do, let me know in the comments. Um, yeah, and I saw he got a KO last in his Dana White Contender Series fight. I know he's making his debut now. Um, I also know he's undefeated, and they gave him the nickname Machine. We already have the Machine, and that's Marab. Sorry about that. Um, but I think Cameron Simon's a pretty hard first fight. You know, I think his only two losses, are to Christian Rodriguez and Payne Talbot, and those aren't necessarily bad wins. You know, um, he did get brutalized by Payne Talbot though, and he had gotten like, I wouldn't say badly beaten. Like, it was slightly competitive. You know, I don't think Cameron Simon necessarily loses any stock for those two losses. So I'm probably gonna go with Cameron Simon. He's also the more experienced. So I think he's actually younger though too, right? He's younger. Oh, he actually is. He's a lot younger. Ooh. That might be interesting. Because Malcolm, I believe, is 30. Might have some of that more, not old man strength, but that more mature muscle mass, that more mature strength. Because Cameron Simon is pretty. He seems pretty frail. Sorry, whenever he gets in the cage, and whenever he cuts weight. So I'm not too sure, but I think just going off of who I know, I'm gonna have to pick Cameron Simon. Oh my gosh. Oh, allergies are lucky fucking me up right now. What the hell? Damon Blackshear versus Al. Oh my god, what the fuck? I'm not redoing these videos, by the way. It's one take. It's just one take. Alateng Haley. Uh, I've never heard of him. What? His last fight, 24. Oh yeah, I missed this one, bro. Hold on. I have to look at this. One fight in 2020, one fight 2021, two in 22, one in 23. Seemingly inactive. 5 by KO. The Mongolian Knight. Jeez, I don't really know. I know Blackshear is a great grappler. I'm not too sure of the ability of Tang Haley, of Alateng Haley. Fuck. This might just have to be another ignorant pick. I'm probably gonna have to go with Damon Blackshear. Oh wow, crazy size difference though. Damn, 5'5" bantamweight, bro, just go down. Holy shit. Yeah, honestly, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Damon Blackshear. I think the range, um, and just the length advantage in the terms of the grappling is gonna really help Damon Blackshear here, and I think he can get it done. To be honest, I don't know. I don't think like looking at this, I'm not trying to say like Ala Tang Haley is probably trash or can, but um, I'm not sure. I just think I like gut feeling. You know, I just get the gut feeling that Blackshear can get it done. And then we have Chris Gutierrez versus John Castaneda. I know this fight was supposed to happen, I think, a couple weeks ago or a month or two so, and then it got moved to here. I'm definitely gonna go with Chris Gutierrez though. Um, he also has the range and the reach advantage over Castaneda. Um, oh, he actually has shorter arms, but he's very good at keeping range and um fighting on the outside and stuff. Using leg kicks very well, and I think those are gonna be his weapon of choice versus Castaneda. Someone who is shorter, those teep kicks to the body are kind of easier to hit. Um, uh, and just also him being more experienced and having fought at a higher level than Castaneda. So I think I'm going with Gutierrez, probably by decision though, because I don't think Castaneda has been finished in his last couple of fights. So yeah, I don't know either, guys. Evan Elder versus Gage Young. I don't know either. I actually didn't even see this fight on the card, so I'm gonna have to skip this and just save my thoughts for the afterwards and no pun intended, just gauge where they're at. You know what I'm saying? And now this is kind of an interesting fight. Matt Schnell versus Jimmy the Brick Flick. I agree with the odds. I think Matt Schnell should definitely win this. This is one of the most winnable fights for him in flyweight. I believe Flick is coming off a win, a loss. Jeez, bro, my sense of time is so bad. I think the last time I saw Flick win was versus Malcolm Gordon. Hold on. Lost to Nate Maness. And then he beat... Okay. Alright, so yeah. I forgot about the Nate Maness fight. No shame, no shame. And then Matt Schnell is coming off of a loss to Cody Durden. I think this is really going to come down to the grappling. Schnell obviously has the boxing advantage, even though he has no chin. I can't recall Flick ever necessarily wobbling or hurting anybody that badly or knocking anybody out in the UFC. Both are solid grapplers. I will give the advantage to Schnell though. He has really great scrambles. He had that comeback submission win over Sumaderji. If it wasn't for his chin, Matt Schnell has a lot of grit. He has some dog in him. It's just, unfortunately, he just has no chin. But I don't think... But he took some shots pretty well versus Durden. Everybody thought he was going to get KO'd in the first round. So, and I don't think Flick has more power or better striking than Durden. So I think Matt Schnell should win. And I think he gets it done within 3 rounds. I think he gets a finish. Whether it's a submission or a TKO, I'm not too sure though. Let me see. Let me try to I'm so Raven. Let me get the visions. I'm rubbing my forehead right now. I'm trying to get the visions right now. Speak to me. Speak to me. Man, I don't know. I'm not getting no visions. This might be a decision. So I think Matt Schnell by decision, 30-27. And now we get to the main card. Now, I'm not going to lie. This is a pretty solid main card. Right? We got Ikram Aliskerov versus Andre Muniz. I believe Aliskerov is coming off of a loss to Robert Whittaker. I believe that was his last fight. Yeah. And then Andre Muniz, I remember he lost to Pearl Craig, but I don't remember who he beat after. Oh, yes, he beat Park. He did beat Park. It's hard to say because when you look at Aliskerov's 2 losses, they were both in the same way. So it's hard to think that his game plan and his Achilles heel isn't out there already. The uppercut, the cross uppercut that just puts him to sleep right on that button. So, but Muniz is more of a grappler from what we've seen. And Aliskerov isn't a terrible grappler either. I think just I guess common sense is gonna tell me Aliskerov. I don't really see a fluke happening here either. I think Aliskerov is definitely top 15 level caliber at currently in his current state. I know Munez is kind of like in that top 20 range, top 15. Like he was ranked 15th before the Paul Craig loss. He did beat a solid prospect in Park though too. I don't know. I mean, I I don't know if I rate Park as much as I rate Ikram. You know, Ikram has solid striking, solid grappling. He seems to be like the more well-rounded. Uh, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Ikram Askarov. Mm, I'm trying to get my vision right now. I'm trying to see if it's decision or if by finish. I think he's coming for a big comeback win. So I think he's gonna get a TKO in the second round. That's that's what the voices are saying right now. That's what the voices are saying. Next we got Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dalby. Um, this one's also pretty interesting. Nicholas Dalby is pretty good. But he is older. I think he's almost 40. Randy Brown isn't that young either. Sorry. I keep muting and I keep taking my attention away cuz my dog has an infection on his paw and I put the cone on him but he's still finding a way to and it's not like a small cone either, you know, but he's still managing to try and find a way to try and scratch the infection or lick it. Whatever. Sorry, side yap. But Randy Brown let me see. Randy Brown, his last loss was to Brian Battle. Who did Dalby lose to? Was it Renat? Oh, yo, crazy pull, bro. Crazy pull. That shit was an actual guess. Wallahi, that was an actual guess. I'm not Muslim. I gotta look at competition. Battle, Dos Santos, Salikov. These are good wins. This was a competitive fight. These are good wins. Tournament, JDM not a bad loss. Okay, back to Dalby now. More experienced. Beat Bonfim. Beat Salikov. Willie Alves. 23. You know, this one's a little bit difficult to choose or to really decide. I think I am gonna go with Randy Brown though. I think he just seems to be in a better form of his career at the moment, even with the loss to Brian Battle. I don't think, and you know how he was acting after the fight. I don't think he's like he's not too hard on himself. He believes he won the fight, and as he should. I think. I don't know if it was a fair decision, right? It was definitely close, and there's nothing wrong with that. But as as they get older, as they start pushing this 40 age, you know, you always have to question how they're. Is this the one that he's gonna look his age, or is he gonna defy his odds again? You know, and as you get older, it gets harder to defy those odds. It's just more unlikely. But this is gonna be a banger fight though, for sure. This is gonna be a banger fight though. I think Dalby, I would say, has better finishing potential than Randy Brown. And like just in this fight, I think, if out of the two, Brown it would be most likely to get knocked out. Excuse me, fuck. But I think overall, and I think Dalby also is more dynamic in terms of his striking. You know, considering that knockout he had versus Gabriel Bonfim. You know, Randy Brown, you obviously uses his reach. He's very good at the outside fighting. Mm, I don't know, man. Like age factor is low key a big thing for me. Whenever I pick these fights, like my last prediction, I went against Volk. Shout out my goat though. Uh, but like it. But it's always something you have to consider. I try not to make it based off my whole prediction. Or change like I don't want to make it the whole basis of my prediction. But I think just like I said, in this moment of both of their careers, I think Randy Brown still has more potential to get better. He's in better form, I would say. And that just seems like the direction it's going. So I'm going to go with Randy Brown. I don't think it's going to be any knockout, though. I think this is going to be a hard-fought 3-round decision. 29-28 probably. I think Dalby might win 1 or 2 rounds. Either a comeback round in the third or maybe the second. You know what I'm saying? But next we got Michelle Pereira versus Abus Magomedov. I don't recall Magomedov's last fight, but I remember Pereira just recently lost to Fluffy. It's odd because I think this fight may seem like one of those. Oh, he beat Diego Ferrer in his last fight. Okay, solid win. No, not gonna lie. This seems like one of those fights that Michelle Pereira kind of makes look easy, but it's hard to bet for either. Seeing that like in my head, from what I remember from Magomedov still is him gassing out versus Sean Strickland, which losing to Strickland isn't a bad loss in hindsight at all. It was definitely a big step in competition, but you know what? He did do pretty well in that first round. I just have to see. Like, my biggest question is how he deals with just the bullshit that Pereira throws. Like the flip kicks, spinning kicks, pulling extremely random submissions, Pereira definitely has his problem of gassing out, and I don't know how he deals with that, how he's dealt with that after his loss. And Pereira is a little older. I think he's 36 or something like that. I'd be very surprised if he was younger than what I'm thinking. I'd be very surprised. He's 31? Nah. How old is Magomedov? No way. 34? Chat, what the fuck? Huh. But like when you look at Pereira's wins, they're flashy. I think I think he only really got ranked because of his flashy wins. Like Oleg, at the time of this fight, I think he was 0-3 or 0-2. Like I think in terms of competition, his best fight was probably this Ponzinibbio one. Yeah, he definitely got like fraud checked in this one. Well, not fraud checked, but like he got dominated in that fight. Patera was also like 0-3 at the time of this fight. I think I'm gonna go Abus Magomedov. That one's kind of 50-50, It's like he can win by knockout, but for some I could see him winning. It's one of those. But I think I'm gonna lean towards Abus Magomedov. I'm not confident in that decision. The voices aren't telling me. The voices the voices are telling me both fighters. So I don't know. I just feel like maybe Pereira isn't that good and may struggle if Abus decides to throw in some of his own grappling. But is his grappling good enough? You know, like that's kind of the questions I have in my mind. Um, but we'll find out on Saturday. Sorry. I'm gonna go Abus Magomedov though. Next we got Giga Chikadze versus David Onama. This is kind of a weird fight because I didn't think David Onama kind of deserved this. He's gotten a couple of knockouts in a row. Jonathan Pierce, some Santos Romero. Oh, so he okay. I may have to spin back on that. Landwehr, Armfield. I don't see these as good wins, but he has power. He has power and he has some decent striking to go with it. Giga's older. He's a more experienced fighter. I would say he's definitely technically better. Hold on, let me. What's the reach? 5'11", 6 foot. Oh wow. Oh wow, pretty similar reach. Damn, I just feel like if Giga gets, I can't recall how good Giga's chin is. But let's look at some of these past fights. Decision with Arnold, Caceres, Cater, sorry. Beat Barboza. Oh wow. But this was 4 years ago. What's his age? 36. Let me look again. For some reason, I don't remember this fight at all. I remember this one, but not this one. Man. I think I'm going to go with Giga. I think he's more experienced. I think he's technically better, and I think he can do well. Using his preferred kick heavy style versus David Onama. I don't think there's gonna be a finish. I think he's gonna win by decision, maybe split decision. If Onama lands some decent shots and does some good damage on to Chikadze's face. I'd probably say 29-28. Maybe split decision. But I think I'm gonna go Giga Chikadze. Yeah. And then for the co-main, Anthony Lionheart Smith versus Zhang Ming Yang. Low key, bro. If I was Smith, I would think that UFC don't fuck with me. Cause what do you mean my retirement fight? My last ever fight for the company that I've never turned down a fight in is a hot prospect with insane KO power, knowing that I've been KO'd 2 or 3 times in my last couple of fights. You know what I'm saying? And his Dom fight, he wasn't in there. His coach had passed, and understandably, I don't hold that against him. But he talks a lot about how he doesn't care so much about or at least it seems like he doesn't care so much about the fighting game anymore. I think he just kind of wanted to have his 60, his big 60 or his big 50, right? How many fights? 38 and 21. Yeah, he just wants to have his 60th fight, I guess. End off on an even number, But I'm gonna go with Zhang Ming Yang. First round, second round, KO. I don't see this being anywhere near like a Vitor Bertrino situation where he got the guillotine. Everybody thought Bertrino was gonna win by knockout. I don't see that happening here for Smith. I think it's gonna be a very depressing retirement fight for him. I think he's gonna get wobbled pretty badly. Um, it, like W trolls, like on paper he should win, but you know, in the cage isn't paper. In the cage isn't the same as on the paper. So I'm gonna go with Jang. That's not even a hot take though. I doubt anybody's picking Anthony Smith for this fight. I feel like Jang is probably the common sense pick for most people, and as well as the casual pick. And now for the main event, Il Machado Garry versus Carlos Prates. I believe Ian Garry wins. And I don't think that I'm trying to carefully word this. It's not that Carlos Prates doesn't have a chance. I just don't know how he can deal, or how it's like the John Silva fight in a way. I just don't know how he'll deal with the grappling of Ian Garry, because Ian Garry is a solid grappler as well as a solid striker. He's not the strongest, like he's not the best striker, but he's had his highlight moments. He has, like he can hurt you on the feet if you're too lazy with your defense, or like, he can catch you slipping. But he is also very hittable. Carlos Prates has a lot of power. They have similar styles, and Carlos Prates definitely beats him in reach. Like I knew that just looking at him, because I knew Ian Garry had shorter arms, but I just think, Ian's a winner. And I mean that in the sense of he does whatever he needs to do to win. In the Shavkat fight, he saw his way to win was through grappling. He almost submitted Shavkat. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if I can say Carlos Prates' grappling is up to par with that of Shavkat. Or, because I think we didn't get to see that in the Neil Magny fight. We didn't get to see any of his grappling get tested. He had good takedown defense, but that fight was too short to really say, like he has really good takedown defense, and he knows to do off his back and stuff like that. And Ian isn't like his mentality isn't shaken up at all from the Shavkat loss, and he accepts any fighter, any challenge that's been given to him by the UFC. And he gets a lot of hate, and sometimes rightfully so. And you know what? Now that I mentioned that, he kind of blew my shit when he said he was more Brazilian than Carlos Prates, just because Prates smokes American cigarettes and drinks Irish liquor. Like, what? What are you talking about, bro? This is a born and raised Brazilian. I think honestly, nobody outside of your team in Brazil wants you to win over Carlos Prates, bro. I'm sorry. I don't know if you're just feeding yourself that delusion. At the end of the day, bro, you're still Irish. You just happen to live in Brazil. Your wife is Brazilian, and you speak it, and you train there. But, respectfully, you're not a Brazilian. And now, people are gonna say the same shit about like Diego Lopez, bro. But he does. The thing is, the difference. Diego Lopez doesn't tell other people they're not Mexican or he's more Mexican than them. Right? Like, that would just be some arrogant shit, because obviously he's not Mexican at all. And this is the same way Ian Garry's saying some arrogant shit, because he's not Brazilian at all. Excuse me. But back to the fighting. Obviously, I guess I'm just trying to get at that Ian Garry is more well-rounded. and he can match Carlos Prates and some of the striking more than I see Carlos Prates being able to handle Ian Garry in the grappling. And I think one of the fights I have to bring it back to is the MVP fight. He obviously knew that he wasn't going to be MVP in the striking, so he resorted to his grappling, and the fight was pretty boring. But he had to do what he had to do to win, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do in this fight. Ian Garry, he's always shown he can make improvements. He's shown that, he's a top 5 level talent. Like, for real. Like, this is actually a really big fight for Carlos Prates. This is a big jump in talent. And it's not the same as John Silva jumping into Bryce Mitchell. Like, no, this is like John Silva stepping in to fight fucking who could I say? Movsar Evloev, right? Yeah, honestly, yeah, that's like the perfect example. This is like John Silva stepping up to fight John Silva after beating the guy he beat in Seattle. Like just forget about Bryce Mitchell. Let's say he beat the guy in Seattle, and then he just stepped in immediately to fight Movsar Evloev. That's what it seems like. And also, I think this is a shorter. I think they both had short camps. I think Prates had more time to train because he was supposed to fight Jeff Neal, and I guess that gives him some slight advantage. But Ian Garry trains all year round. He's always ready. Damn, man. It really seems like I'm hyping up Ian Garry too. And it's not like I'm a hater anymore, but I'm not like a fan either. Like, if you ask me who would I want to win, I'd probably say Carlos Prates. But I think logically, I feel my gut is telling me Ian Garry. So I think I'm gonna go with Ian Garry. I think if he wins, it's probably by submission, or maybe a 4-1, 3-2 decision. Probably winning the later rounds. I just think that's where he gains his better sense of urgency. I feel like in the earlier rounds, he's more likely to get caught. But he recovers well. He makes good adjustments within the fight. I just feel like the only thing going for Prates right now that I see is just his power and his very crisp and clean striking, and I guess like his dynamic striking as well. But I think that won't play as much part because of the takedown threat. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Ian Garry by decision. That's decision machine. Carlos Prates wasn't wrong in saying that. I just think that's how it's gonna go. Y'all let me know what y'all think is gonna happen in the main event. Comment down your thoughts, feedback. Follow me on Twitter. The link is in the bio of my channel profile. It's in the description of my channel profile. I want to get to 50 subscribers so that I can start going live. I would probably show my face during these live streams. Y'all let me know if y'all would want some face cam for the videos too. Just so it's not just these, like just the screen. But I mainly make these videos just for like my pastime. You get to watch it however you want. Just turn on YouTube, play me in the background or whatever. Just be on your phone. It doesn't matter. It's just my bad. It's something on my screen. But yeah, I'm gonna end the video there. Thoughts, feedback, like, comment, subscribe, all that, and I'll see y'all next time for the reaction.